Welcome children. In this topic, in this video I will be dealing with chemiosmosis occurring during respiration. It is parallel to the chemiosmotic hypothesis of photosynthesis. So, we know in the mitochondria where is the ETC located? It is located in the inner mitochondrial membrane. If this is the inner mitochondrial membrane and what I drew outside is the outer mitochondrial membrane. So, this is outer mitochondrial membrane and the thick one is inner mitochondrial membrane, and time and again I told you why I have indicated thick to accommodate the ETC and the ATPase. The ETC is a chain of electron carriers and finally it terminates with the ATPase, which is having the F0 stalk and the F1 particle, which has the raw materials for ATP synthesis, that namely ADP and P. It only synthesizes ATP when protons pass, and for protons to pass through the F0 and F1 and result in the coupling of ADP with P, a proton gradient should be created. And where should the gradient be created? Here it should be created in this space. This is called the intermembrane space. And what is responsible for creating this proton gradient, a high proton gradient in the intermembrane space, is the electron transport chain, which is represented here. By the passing of electrons from one electron carrier to the other electron carrier, the hydrogens or protons from within the matrix is removed and it is concentrated more towards the intermembrane space. Therefore, a proton gradient is created and finally the proton gradient is broken by passing through this. So, now let us see the ETC operating in the matrix. Now, this part, see, only from this point of view, this part is going to be drawn. Okay. So, it will be from, I indicate from this side the labeling, this side will be the matrix, then the inner mitochondrial membrane and then the intermembrane space. So, taking the diagram from this side, from the left hand side of the mitochondria, taking the profile from there. So, that diagram is given here. So, this one's enlarged version is drawn here. So, all of you look at this diagram. Okay. So, keeping the orientation the same. See, I told you first will be the matrix. So, here we have the matrix. Then is the inner mitochondrial membrane. Yes, the inner mitochondrial membrane. Here it is indicated in blue and it's thick. And then next comes the intermembrane space. See, the intermembrane space. So, you will see this diagram in the form of a table. It is not a table, it is just a profile of this side, the left hand side of the mitochondria. Okay, so we have three regions once again: matrix, the inner mitochondrial membrane in which our ETC is located, and the intermembrane space. So, I can extend this. So, what will be this? This will be the outer mitochondrial membrane. This is not required. Now, on the inner mitochondrial membrane are located the electron carriers. The electron carriers are FMN, FES, again one more FES, then O stands for ubiquinone and OH2 stands for its reduced stage called ubiquinol. Ubiquinone and ubiquinol, nol when H2 is added. Ubiquinone is indicated by O and ubiquinol is indicated by OH2. Okay. Then we have the next electron carrier is cytochrome B, then we have FES, then we have ubiquinone, then it becomes ubiquinol, then we have some cytochromes, cytochrome C, cytochrome A, 1 to A3, a complex. Okay. So, we are having a number of electron carriers stretched across the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now, the substrate is our NADH. We know NADH and FADH2 should be converted in terms of ATP like the currency. So, this is going to undertake oxidation. So, here by oxidation this NADH is going to utilize one hydrogen to form NAD plus 2H. Okay. So, by the oxidation of NADH, what happens? NADH plus H gives rise to NAD plus 2 hydrogens. Now, what happens is during this reaction, during this oxidation of NADH, an electron is emitted. So, the electron is going to be indicated in pink, and this arrows indicate the flow of the electron. See, the electrons are flowing or passing from one electron carrier to another electron carrier. Our answer sheet is not digital to show it moving from one. So, you have to show it at a stretch it reached till the end. So, it passes. And did you notice as it is passing from one electron carrier to another electron carrier, hydrogens are displaced. So, you can see the hydrogen displaced here and it is added, one hydrogen is added to the intermembrane space. Then as electron reaches here, the hydrogen here, as a result of oxidation we get NAD plus 2H that gets in. So, now the number of hydrogen is 0 here. I am writing in words 0. Now, this hydrogen is used to reduce ubiquinone to ubiquinol, and the hydrogen came out. So, the second hydrogen or proton that is added to the intermembrane space. So, first one we saw, the second one contributed. Then again the electrons are passed. Then again here what happens is from FeS, we know that from FeS to ubiquinone, and from ubiquinone it became ubiquinol. Okay. Now, here what happens is the cytochrome B, we know the specialty of cytochrome B and F, they are not electron carriers, they are hydrogen carriers. So, what happens is that they give off a hydrogen. See, the hydrogen comes out. And then again we have this ubiquinol getting reduced to ubiquinol, and that hydrogen comes out. So, we have a third hydrogen that comes out here. So, how many hydrogens or protons we got on the intermembrane space? 1, 2 and 3, and net here is now 2 hydrogens. Why? Because of our cytochrome B, 1 hydrogen or 1 proton has come, which is represented by 2H plus. But that is very important, hold on. So, here we are having 3 protons and this side we are having 1 proton. Okay. Now, this proton is very important. Here we see, unlike photosynthesis where there is photolysis of water, here there is formation of water. Very important. There it is splitting of water, here it is formation of water. So, here the role of water is to remove this hydrogen. This hydrogen was used. And here there is an oxygen which will accept the electron, and this oxygen combines with the hydrogen to form water. So, the role of water here is very important. Here the water is not splitting, here water is formed. Oxygen plus this hydrogen is removed. So, the hydrogen is removed. Our purpose is to create a proton gradient. There was one 2H plus here. How was that removed? This hydrogen was removed by the formation of water. Oxygen combined with this hydrogen and was removed from the matrix and water is formed. Now, we have how many protons on this side? 0, and how many protons this side? 3 protons. So, gradient is created across the inner mitochondrial membrane. We have 3 protons on the intermembrane space and 0 protons in the matrix. And what was responsible for making it 0? Water. So, there also water played an important role. In photosynthesis, how water played an important role? By photolysis of water. There water got split and added hydrogen to the lumen. There what was necessary to create a proton gradient? By adding protons. So, it added protons by way of splitting, added protons to the lumen, and therefore proton gradient was created. Here the reverse role. It is helping the proton gradient by removing the hydrogen from the matrix. So now therefore the number of protons in the matrix have become 0 and the number of protons in the intermembrane space has become 3. Now very important, the last step. I zoom this diagram so that it goes in continuity with this. So finally we have the ATPase. We know the ATPase has the two components, the F0 part and the F1 part, which has the raw materials ADP and P. Now you focus on how many hydrogens were produced as or how many protons were produced as a result of the oxidation of NADH. Remember the substrate was NADH. How many protons? 3 protons. So the first proton will come. See, first proton. When the first proton came, which is represented by 2H plus came, what happens? The ADP and P combine to form the first ATP. So first proton was went. So I let the third one be the first that went. Now the turn of the second proton. I will give another color. Let the second proton be indicated with red. The second proton will pass through the F0, F1 and results in the combination of ADP and P. So we get the second ATP synthesized by the passage of the second proton. Now the third proton takes its role, takes its chance. The third proton gets in. ADP plus P. So we have the third proton forming the third ATP. So you see how many ATPs are produced? 1, 2, 3. And you notice that from the oxidation of one, remember, from the oxidation of just one NADH, how many ATPs were produced? 3 ATPs. That's how we told you. I told you in the beginning that ATP is the energy currency. So NADH and FADH2, which are the other energy molecules, should be converted in terms of ATP. So when NADH was converted in terms of ATP, how many ATPs were produced? 3 ATPs. That's how in the beginning when I told you about phosphorylation, this NADH undergoes oxidative phosphorylation to form 3 ATP. Now you understood how 3 ATPs are synthesized. The 3 protons get in. The first proton gets in, helps in the coupling of ADP and P to form the first ATP. The second proton comes, helps in the coupling, second ATP, and the third proton passes and couples the 2 ADP and P to form the third ATP. Thus, from one, by the oxidation of one NADH, we get how many? 3 ATPs. Similarly, by the oxidation of one FADH2, oxidative phosphorylation, we get 2 ATP. So definitely we can guess in the intermembrane space there were only 2 protons, and these 2 protons took a turn through the F0 and F1 and helped in ATP synthesis. They took a turn and 2 turns gave 2 ATPs. I hope you have understood the ETC. Now what you have to remember is just passing of the electrons and displacement of the protons, and displacement of protons towards the intermembrane space, and from the matrix the proton number is reducing, and finally there is a net proton gradient. There's 1 proton and here 3 proton, but how did that 1 proton vanish? Because of water, formation of water. In that formation of water, this proton got incorporated, and therefore the proton gradient was created, 3 protons to 0. And to break this proton gradient, it passes through the ATPase. The first proton gets in, first ATP synthesized, second proton, third proton. That way, by the oxidation of NADH, we get 3 ATPs. Now, having learned that, an analysis of these parameters. Oxidative phosphorylation occurs during respiration. It occurs in the mitochondria. Where is the ETC operating? Now you know it is operating in the inner mitochondrial membrane, which I have exaggerated by making it thick. Then ATPase is also located in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now a proton gradient is created where? In the across the inner mitochondrial membrane. So between two regions. Which are the two regions you all know? It is between the matrix as well as the intermembrane space. And remember, the accumulation is more at the intermembrane space. We saw if this was the intermembrane space. This is the matrix, this is the inner mitochondrial membrane, and this is the intermembrane space. We saw 3 protons, and here it became 0. So we can see a proton gradient was created, and the proton accumulation was more towards the intermembrane space. Then ATP is produced where? Look at the F1 particle, how is it protruding? It is protruding where? Into the matrix. Remember, from the diagram itself you will understand, it is protruding. The globular head is protruding into the matrix. So where is the ATP synthesized? In the matrix. Then it is formed by the oxidation of NADH. We saw of NADH. Even it can happen for FADH2, which you will be learning in higher classes. Oxidation of FADH2. And the role of water, very, very important. Here, how did the water play an important role? By removing the proton. How? By the formation of water. And this was a terminal step where oxygen played a very vital role. And because of oxygen at the end, you can see the role of oxygen is terminal, but it played a very, very important role, oxygen. It created a driving force. And the role of water is to remove this 2H plus, or to remove the proton, and therefore a proton gradient was created. I hope you have understood the chemi-osmosis even in the ETC operating in the mitochondria. Of the two ETCs, the one operating in the chloroplast and operating in the mitochondria, the most important one is the one operating in the chloroplast. I hope you have understood. Thank you.